the University of Wisconsin-Madison when billionaire Steve Forbes came to speak before the Young Americans for Freedom. A group of Marxists had a counter-protest outside. In attendance were also members of Antifa. Far right-wing internet provocateurs came to film and disrupt the event, and also some libertarians were there on their own just to observe the event. This is some of what happened that day.
Steve Forbes is coming to campus today, and he's got some ties to some pretty serious white nationalists. Well, actually, Young Americans for Freedom, the organization that he is being brought in by, has a bunch of ties to white nationalists. Two of their national board members have supported white nationalists in the past, and we are standing up and saying absolutely no. Get these people off our campus and get their disgusting ideology off our campus. Capitalism is violent.
Socialism is the idea that workers control what's being produced. And so you have democracy not only in voting for the president, every once in a while, right? We should be able to vote more often, have more methods of accountability in the official politics.
They don't see color. That again is ignoring the privilege that they have in America. And that is something that is very detrimental and harmful, as you know. And by the way, if anybody wants to chime in on a question, I'm not the master of the microphone. Y'all can answer the thing. Huh?
I have a question. I'm curious about something that you said before. If you don't mind.
Yeah.
You talked about the difference, the distinction, the dichotomy, that is to say, between a naive racist
Correct.
and an overt racist.
Correct.
Now, I've actually had a similar idea, but I trace it a little bit differently. If we go back 100 years or so, that was the dawn, as most people know from their American history classes, the beginning of the progressive movement.
Hey y'all, you got 15 minutes until the work starts, and you don't want to wait till it gets like 5 minutes long.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
So it traces to the progressive movement. The progressive movement, as we should know, it actually was very instrumental here at UW-Madison, if not the University of Wisconsin system at large. We have people like Dewey, so on and so forth, who are instrumental thinkers in that. Now, as I'm sure you know as well, these people like Dewey, who's the guy that did the national parks? People like Theodore Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson were over racist, as you would say. No, this isn't Lovian. This is how. Oh, I'm sorry. Besides, fine. Simple. Progressives are progressive ideology. That is to say, American progressivism is inherently racist. It inherently will line along a hierarchy between the races. I was actually
So how is that?
I wasn't done because I make the point between racialism, which is something that is taught, and it was taught in many schools and throughout history, throughout like the past 100 years, and that kind of leads to what you were talking about, which is the naive racism, versus the race, what I would call the racists, which are what you would say an overt racist, namely. And so I think that we should stand against progressive ideas of collectivism and treat people as individuals, so as to make sure that we don't buy into this bullshit.
I guess for me,
hierarchy of the races.
I guess for me you're gonna have to elaborate on exactly what is the progressive.
No platforms for fascists! Oh, I hate the alt right! Oh, my God!
Not a fascist.
Fucking hate racists. Burn the bricks on you.
What do you guys think about capitalism?
Comment at all. No comment at all.
No? Okay with that.
I just have no comment at all.
Capitalism violence?
Go back!
The Southern Poverty Law Center put Najee Fawaz, a liberal Muslim, on the anti-Muslim extremist list. So they're literally calling a Muslim a Islamophobe, a hater of Muslims. So where does that tell you?
You know, there's a place for alternative facts. It's called the internet.
In attendance of the rally was Milwaukee YouTuber Dan Durst. Dan has been traveling the country now for several years, provoking socialists, Antifa, and other left-leaning groups so that their anger can be seen on his YouTube channel. You could say he actually profits off the anger and hostility that he causes at these events that he goes to.
David Williams,
Yeah.
is free speech alive and well in Madison, Wisconsin?
It looks like it.
What do you think of debate?
I think it's appropriate under most circumstances. You know, I wouldn't debate with people who are carrying out a lynching, you know, or beating up workers or beating up trans people, or, you know, that's not the moment when you have a debate. You know, but I think at other times, we, the left, we're at an extreme disadvantage in this country. You know, the capitalists control the media, they control governments. You know, they have every reason to want to suppress free speech. So I do think we have to bend over backwards, you know, to respect the free speech rights of people. I didn't want to say that.
And even though there were plenty of Marxists and right-wing provocateurs and Antifa yelling at each other, you could find these moments in it where people of the libertarian nature and people of the socialist nature were having meaningful debates with each other.
So that's where, yeah, you know, we agree. There was systemic racism in the dawn of the 20th century, right? Especially. And what I would argue is we tried to do a lot, I mean, you know, the United States largely, to come out, but then those ideas stay within people. They stay within, you know, what's it called, barroom talk, you know, they stay within different types and so on and so forth. And so it's a process, right? You know, that's the point of philosophy of inquiry. We're supposed to inquire into these things and use our logic and our reason, which we fundamentally share. And this is another difference between Marxist thought and individualist thought, because Marx thought that there's actually no way that we can communicate. Mises coined it a polylogism. Right. So it's this idea that we are fundamentally different on a basic level, based on the nature of our different classes, namely race.
You know, I don't know that person. I have no idea who that individual is.
It was more than one person. It was a gang of fucking
So wait, I'm sorry. What makes him specifically alt-right?
Excuse me?
Steve Forbes.
Yeah, we're doing an interview. Can we?
Yeah. So no, you put a blanket statement. What makes him alt-right?
So what's the biggest?
Well, what exactly makes Steve Forbes alt-right?
That's not what we were talking about. This is a capitalism event.
So what makes Steve
I'd
Forbes?
rather not.
You know, and your hatred of fucking women.
Right.
Oh yeah, I seen you down at the fucking abortion clinic carrying around your dead baby fucking signs, dude.
Ah, you were there.
Oh yeah.
So can you defend the statement?
I don't want to talk to you.
But you made a statement.
Respect my freedom to not speak. He's speaking at an event hosted by the Young Americans for Freedom, which the Southern Poverty Law Center has listed as a hate group.
Okay, but the Southern Poverty Law Center has also labeled the Nation of Islam as a hate group. So is the Nation of Islam a hate group?
You know, I think it's up to, you know. Yeah. I personally don't view them as a hate group, but I'm sure there are other people who do, and I think SPLC offers a lot of, you know, a good resource to see which groups they have that have a history of violence amongst their members.
So is the Nation of Islam a hate group?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so the Southern Poverty Law Center is wrong some part of the time?
I disagree with their statement that... Are you filming me right now?
Yeah, I am.
All right.
I caught you.
Do you all regularly read Forbes' publication and website? I do, and I'm actually a pretty big fan. But one thing that Forbes does pretty regularly on his site is that he has editors who talk about how violent capitalism is. Did you know that? Did you know that Forbes himself has a publication in which he discusses the violence of capitalism? So who doesn't think capitalism is violent? Anyone? Anyone still wanna? All right, so that's why you're not at the Forbes event, right? Because you're like, man, that Forbes dude, he doesn't understand just how not violent capitalism is. He's not extreme enough for you. He's not ride or die enough about capitalism for you.
What do you think about capitalism?
To own that home, right?
It has its pluses and its minuses.
Things because I can share them with you. And yeah, you're right. That means I have to
she has some good solid arguments,
but don't
and at the same time, she also has some pretty stupid damn arguments.
Got right now,
I work for a living.
Slowly over generations,
when I work for a living,
the
puts a
idea
roof over my
that we
head.
need to constantly kind of create
Because if I
these
don't work
boundaries
for a
and
living,
borders
I don't
about
get a
who
roof
gets
over my
to
head.
live and who
I've been
gets to
homeless.
use
I like
what,
being
who gets
homeless.
access to
It
this
sucks.
public education.
What years did you
Can't we
serve?
agree that the world is better when I share this
79,
mic with you so we can both. You don't need to get on board with my, gay automated space communist utopia. You don't need to get on board with that, Miles. That's cool, right? But what you do need to get on board with is saying, don't you think there's something wrong when we can't feed everyone when we have enough food to do it? That's all I'm asking.
Voluntary interactions with other people.
Woo!
What? The way that violence gets brought into that is when a third party, aka the government, gets in between those two people in their voluntary interaction and says, we will determine how that interaction goes. Whether that's through taxation or deciding who you can and cannot sell to.
So the
case was made before. What? I can't hear.
KKK was not a governmental organization.
That was a Democrat organization. Let's talk about the KKK.
Yes,
so
who
if
doesn't
you
know that?
so the example was given earlier.
Democrats.
You have a store. Let's say it's a donut shop, and openly KKK members come in and they're dressed full in their robes. Should you have to sell to them or not? Let me answer, and then I'll give it to you. Capitalism says that because it's a voluntary interaction, you don't have to do business with anybody that you don't want to. So when you see these people that you maybe ideologically disagree with or think are just terrible people, you can say, no, this is my private property. I do not need to do business with you, and they can leave. The fact that they could be starving or something like that, you have no way of knowing because that's a value that's subjective only to them.
Yeah, let's get some claps. That man just came up here unprompted and clapped. So yeah, let's talk about that.
Thanks for watching, everybody, and if you want to help support more videos like this, please go to the PayPal link attached and donate $1. Thank you.